said, is it Lettucey? Is that her name? Lettucey? Not Lettucey. She's a singer. She got the song that says, "Can you add to me?"
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
I don't know who. Can you add to me?
But she says, "Can you add to me?"
Yeah.
Right? And it's not necessarily a materialistic thing, but it's like that spiritual, emotional
It's like,
component.
are you equally yoked with me?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Because the thing is, I feel like a lot of women, they get with men and they feel like they can build them up. And I have, let me get in the camera.
Yes, girl, get there.
Because I have literally dealt with men that would see me and would try to dim my light, and they would see how beautiful I am and how much attention that I would get, to the point where they'll say, "Oh, you're not the one for me, you're not this," and try to tear me down and bring me down to their level to make me feel like how they feel. And it has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with them. And then when they put their energy into your womb, which means you start to have sex with this person, you start to feel exactly how they feel. You don't feel confident no more. You feel run down. You feel like, why can I not go after my goals anymore? Why am I so depressed? You done let this man nut up all in you, so all his energy is all up in your shit. So then, so what else do? You thinking about this man 24/7. You can't get nothing done because he's in you. He is living.
It attaches.
He is living, and that's why it's so important to cleanse your womb. It's so important to literally do yoni sneeze, to drink teas, because that cleanses you. And especially if it's a man that doesn't know who he is, because then he will start to cast that spirit of confusion onto you.
That's so true.
To literally make you feel like you don't know who you are, when you knew who you were before him. You knew who you were. You knew that you were powerful. You knew that you were in that element, in alignment with who you are. But then, guess what? You start going on your journey. You meet him, and you think, "Oh, this is my person."
Let me ask, right?
Yeah.
Because in that, right, we have this thing of where the masculine, feminine energy is yin yang.
Yes.
It connects, right? It's supposed to create balance, because I truly believe like that's like the creation of man and woman, right? So how do we balance that, right? To where we're not emasculating, or we're not making the man extinct in our journey. We're still growing, but how would you say we implement that, right?
I feel like the way that you implement that is how he's showing up as well. He has to be in his purpose enough. He has to be driven enough. You see what I'm saying? If he is stagnant, right? Let's say that he don't know who he is. Let's say that he says to you, "Well, you do this and you do that, but I don't feel good enough for you." And then you start to try to plead and try to build him up, and he's not equally yoked with you. He knows who you are. He sees who you are. But that's why he feels like there's someone else better for you, because he sees how. And I feel like knowing who you are will help you to identify who he is, because you would know that within my values, within my core of who I am as a woman, I know that this man doesn't align with me. And I feel like a lot of women today don't have values and morals, and that's why we settle for anything. But it's when you get your values and your morals in check, and then you place that as pillars for your boundaries. I will not accept this because this goes against my boundary. I'm not going to shack around and sleep with you and you not my man. We're not dating to get married. We're not building in purpose. We're not going in purpose together. I don't want you in my path, because I'm purpose driven. And that's how you know when you are in alignment with yourself, because then you will know this man is in alignment with me, because y'all have the same values.
What happens when you get married? Have you been married before?
I have never been married.
Okay. So this is what I see a lot. Myself included, right? Women getting married and their spouse no longer, their spouse either stagnates their purpose or no longer is in alignment with their purpose. And then you see this throughout history and I was just at the speech at the table, where women are stated to be this proverbial 31, right? And the man has no expectations to uphold. So you see us doing all these things, a woman with her cape on, doing everything, but the man has gotten like this contentment, and he starts stagnating your purpose, right? So you marry him, you guys are not growing, right? Your womb is sucking up all of these different energies. Next thing you find yourself, you raising children, you stressed out, you're not happy in your marriage, you've lost your identity, you don't know who you are anymore. But your husband he takes that energy
and he goes and puts it somewhere else.
Yes, and then he starts thriving, right? And you maximize his potential, his purpose, and so when you're speaking about values, right, and principles, this is where boundary setting come in at, because I think a lot of times when we get married, we feel like we become balanced. We don't set boundaries. We just like, oh well, the marriage is my boundary, and we're confined to those vows, right? But at what point do we start honoring ourselves in a marriage? And so that's kind of like where I'm throwing things out at, because a lot of times you see women who invested themselves in a marriage, their husband died, and they're like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I don't. And so that's like kind of one of my things that I want to, even with myself where I am now, and speaking to other women, because I've seen that, and it happens so often where we kind of allow marriage to absorb us and our purpose.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel that on another level, because I feel like they say, oh, if you choose the wrong woman, then then we'll see how your life turns out, right? But if you choose the wrong man, and for women, we have that creative energy, so most of the time we are pouring out our energy to that man, right? Okay, so just think about it. If you don't believe this, just think about it. You start dating a man, and let's just say you married to this man. Before, when you were in your prime, you were going, right? So then it's the middle of the marriage, and you're like, damn, I don't even feel my husband don't really touch me no more. He kind of like standoffish a little bit. He's short. But then he's starting to thrive, and I'm starting to get depleted, right?
Or he wants to touch you, and you don't want to be touched.
Yeah, that's a swippity sock too, because you start to feel unattractive because he's like, I don't know, and you're looking for a man that knows. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you continue to press on and say, well, I've been unhappy in this for so long, but I'm going to stay with it because I don't want to believe in divorce? Or do you say, well, this is not working for me, and I love my husband, and I've loved the seasons that we've had, but seasons change and seasons end. And at this point, if I am not fulfilled in this relationship or in this marriage, I'm not going to continue to depress and deplete myself and dim my own light by staying with a person just because I don't want to be judged by others.
Now let me ask, with that being said, what would be your time to allow that? What's your allowance time on that?
I would say, like, even if you were to have a conversation with him and you say, how do you feel about this situation? Because if you're feeling like this, 9 times out of 10, he's feeling like this as well. And I feel like having an open and honest conversation where you're not looking at him as your husband, but you're looking at him as a person and putting yourself in his shoes, but also he's putting himself in, if y'all can have that type of conversation, because a lot of people are just, so they can't really communicate properly. But if you do have a situation where you can communicate and say, well, I've been unhappy for a while, how can we fix this? And then you try to take some action, but then if that action is not sparking it again, then I feel like that's when you should pull the plug and say, you know what, I've tried. Because if you don't, then you're going to go through life. And I literally just wrote this in my journal today. It was, who were you before him, but also how would you feel after him?
And that's that healing process.
Yeah.
That part of that releasement, right? Because what happens is, like as women, when we make those decisions to leave or to pick up and carry on without the significant other, that we carry all of this baggage, right? And we internalize it and process it, and so we continue to create that trauma after that. And so that's why I feel like holistic healing, right? Like we said, the yoni steams, the herbs, the breathing, the meditation, the yoga, all those different things are very essential.
Yes.
Even in the process of that, right? Because you have to center yourself, you have to release this. And right now, like we at a high state as far as with women with fibroids, cysts, POC, and all these different things.
Yeah.
But that's that stagnant energy that's been left behind.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of times as women, we don't ever have the ability to heal after something traumatic has happened.
Yes.
Right. I think about me being pregnant, losing a child, and I was right back at it, not even realizing 5 years later, like I lost a child.
Right.
I didn't get to mourn, and giving ourselves that space to
Yes.
heal and release is very important, and even knowing how to set those boundaries, because sometimes we again do lock ourselves in that. So I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, because it's hard to try to let go of somebody that you felt, that you made a space in your heart for. You see what I'm saying? You done dug this hole just to put literally a seed of them in your heart, to where now it's probably been grown different weeds and all this other stuff. And if it's a relationship where it can be repairable, you can pull those weeds out. But if it's more weeds than blooming and abundance, then I feel like that's the point where you say, okay, this is not making me happy. This is depleting me rather than adding to me. And I want somebody that can add to my abundance, not just take away from it, because I am losing myself the more that I stay with you.
And know that it's okay to do that. Like,
Yes.
we have to be comfortable in decision
And being
making.
okay. Yes, like, because it's so important. You're gonna make it give you a hug
Yeah.
because you need it.
I'm glad that I know. I'm telling y'all, this is cleaning. That's what tears are. So that's beautiful. And we'll do the process, and it's fine. So those are the things in the process.
She didn't start with you, so don't think that it's you. We have a long lineage, family lineage of choosing men before ourselves, of putting them above us and saying that their love is more important than our own. And it's okay to feel like you deserve better, like you deserve to be valued. And you don't have to be valued by a man, but you can value yourself enough to put yourself in a better position. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't start with you, because we always, even our mothers, our grandmothers, all of these women have catered to men's needs. And I'm not saying that we don't need a man, but I'm saying that a lot of women have put ourselves on the back burner to uplift and make a man our first priority. But where does it come where we choose ourselves and we say, well, you know what, I don't want to have no man's babies.
And it's okay.
And that's okay. I want to focus on my career. I want to become the best version of myself. I want to reinvent myself, because the person that I am right now, I don't think that I really like this version of myself. It's okay to start over. It's okay to let go. And it's okay to be free. And it's not selfish. Like,
it's not selfish at all. And what we got to understand, that having some selfishness is okay, right?
Yes.
Ooh, girl, I'm sorry. Sweat it out over here, y'all.
Listen, we over here preaching, baby.
Like, to know what your selfishness looks like
Yes.
is what's important, right? Because even in childbirth, right, I knew I was selfish, but I said, all right, I have enough in me to only share with this one child. That's what I did, right? So, and people make it seem like, you know, oh, selfishness is a bad thing, but we're taught to share, to care, but not love ourselves and not learn how to have something to ourselves. So that's kind of what I look at selfishness is. Now it depends, because sometimes selfishness can lead to greed, but when it comes to you honoring yourself first, that's just what it is. And people who don't understand that paradigm will say that you're being selfish.
There's the amazing girl. I'm sorry, I gotta ask.
Okay.
Is that all real?
Yes, it's all real.
Wow.
I've been taking 12 years to grow this.
It looks beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Really does. It
Thank
looks
you.
gorgeous. You all are all gorgeous
Oh,
girls.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being you.
Thank you.
It helps to have pretty girls around.
Oh, yeah, it does. Thank you.
So selfishness is okay, and being able to know what that looks like for you in that space. Now there are some types of selfishness that are all about greed, but when you're doing it for purpose and for your identity's sake, that's important, because eventually you grow out of it. Yes, kind of set these boundaries, and now that you've elevated to this space, now you can allow a little bit more. But when we're taught to share and care, we give all ourselves away, right? And that happens early on when we got siblings, and especially in Black communities. We give this, share this. It's about time you get older, you all pour it out. You don't have nothing to give, right? You don't know how to set those boundaries and all that. So we have to know that it's okay to not give it all and to say no and to permit yes when necessary. And it's okay to, when people ask you for something, it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
That's not you being selfish, that's you having a boundary, and you have why you don't want to share. And you don't have to explain to anybody. Caring and sharing makes us feel like we have no boundaries. Right. It teaches us nothing. And so, having an only child, I even taught him that, because it's okay. If you don't want to share, you don't want to share. Today, funny side note, was talking to my son about, he brought up this fight that I had in middle school. Well, it was because I set boundaries with this young girl, and she got mad. And when you set boundaries, people will get pissed off. She threw Kool-Aid in my hair, and I went to her ass for that. She's not French. But like that was like one of the biggest moments that I set a boundary and saying, no, I don't have to share. It's mine. And that's the same thing with our womb. This is ours. It's not meant to be all out.
Yeah, just paraded and
Yeah.
And men, I'm not, okay, I don't want to bash men. I'm not bashing men. I love men. I believe that we all need each other. But I do feel like sometimes there is
Men are not raised well.
an entitlement to our Yanni, to where they feel like, okay, if I take you out, if I'm showing interest in you, you should give me
I was
what
raised
you
by a
got.
mother who taught me to be a gentleman and taught me to be a good husband.
Well, it's great for your mother, because
And
Makes
even
all
in
the
marriage, because it's like, oh, you're mine.
It's the way you
Even in
raise
marriage.
your sons.
yeah.
Really
Well-
makes a big difference.
Yeah, I don't know this man again with my purse that I have no, I don't even know